Hi, I'm Ven. Welcome to my book corner. Today we have another tag video for you. A little bit late to this one, but that's fine. We're still in January. We can do this. This is a tag originally made by the amazing Kevin Towle Reads, who very kindly tagged me in this as well. This is the New Year, New Me book tag. We have 8 prompts, the last of which is a non-book related one. So let's dive straight into number 1. What is one book from your 2025 reading goals that scares you? So, one of my favourite authors that I've discovered in the last few years is Andrew Joseph White, who thus far, the books I've read have all been YA. Later on this year, they're releasing their first adult horror novel. I think this is what it's titled to be. I know the actual information here does match up with what I've seen. You Weren't Meant to Be Human. I believe this comes out around September time. And the reason this scares me is, number one, the YA novels were so dark and so gruesome, I was shocked they were YA, really pushing the envelope with those. And if you can push it that far with those, how far are they going to push it with these? Truly a terrifying thought. And just to add to a level of discomfort potentially for this, you then have what the subject matter is on, and it's very much a bit of a hot button topic to some people. So the blurb, inverted commas, because it's not fully done yet, is You Weren't Meant to Be Human is about a trans young man aiding in the covert invasion of a parasitic alien species called the Infestation, until an unwanted pregnancy puts his own future at risk. It's going to be really, really dark. I suspect it's going to be really, really gruesome. I have seen some bits and pieces over on various social media sites that Andrew's on, commenting about how dark and disturbing this book is. And if they think it's dark and disturbing, I am truly terrified to pick this up. Still going to. Don't think it's going to be a comfortable read, but I'm sure it will be amazing. Number 2, Patience, the virtue I do not possess. What is the one book on your 2025 reading goals you want to start immediately? There is a few. Cemetery Boys 2 would be one that is an option for this. The one that comes closest, though, is Diplomacy of the Knife by C.M. Kaplan. So this is book 2 in the Four Mercies series, and it's a follow-up to The Fall Is All There Is. Brain went completely numb then. The Fall Is All There Is. Now, this is due out on the 25th of February. I am hoping that I have an arc come through for this one. If not, I'm just going to have to wait to February and be very, very sad. But this is following up from book 1, which is set in this incredibly dark and gruesome, almost steam/coal punk world. Cybernetic horses, human augmentation, Game of Thrones-esque political intrigue, a main character of Peter who is not exactly the most likeable of characters in the world, and it just sounds so good. Book 1 was probably my first grimdark read. Very excited for this. It's going to come in at 471 pages. The blurb for this one: Peter has had a rough time since he rode home on a cyborg horse. He's lost a hand that's been replaced with a mess of steel and piano string, broke his thyroid-powered sword, and helped ignite a civil war that's engulfed the countryside. His sister, the Queen, has ordered him to root out any traitors in Mercy House, but Peter can hardly ferret out the truth from his siblings, let alone a vast network of spies with counterplots, and every day more turncoats move against him. If he has any hope of putting down this uprising, he'll have to work with a sister he's still learning to trust. But his enemies are one step ahead of him at all times, and they're hiding in the last place he'd think to look. Very excited for that. I'm expecting a lot. So there's maybe some more stuff with that later on. We'll see. I've seen some quotes on Blue Sky that Connor themselves have posted from the book. Definitely feels the same tone as the last one, so very excited. Number 3, Growth. What book last year pushed you to reflect and or grow as a reader? I don't know if there's any specific book that did. There's a few books that I read last year that made me think. Flamer being the big one by Mike Curato, which is a graphic novel looking at a young man growing up in the 90s. It's one that I've spoken about multiple times. Link up above to the review of that one. Past that, I read more romance last year, which had a lot more steamy scenes in than I'm used to. Possibly Clotty's Song by Danny Finn, just because of the sheer amount of spice that was in there. That really did challenge me because, you know, I am a repressed Englishman, as you can probably tell by my voice. Possibly those two are the ones that kind of stand out for outside of my comfort zone. I do want to read more non-fiction this year. That is something that I do need to fix. I've not hit anything last year that's really pushed me beyond that yet. So, number 4, New Paths. What is one author you plan to try for the first time in 2025? And it's another indie author, and they are called, I'll make sure I actually pronounce this right because I normally don't. Crystal Matter. I'm so sorry. So, book 1, Legacy of Brightwash, has been on my list for quite a while. It was all over socials last year. It's a bit of a chunk of a book, but I have heard amazing things, especially from the indie author community as well. I have heard really, really good things about their work, so very excited to get to that one. Number 5, self-care. What is one book and or series you revisit for comfort? The Discworld, which is there. The Discworld books are very much my go back to for rereads quite often. I don't reread books very often. Discworld just makes me feel happy. All of them. Doesn't really matter which book either. I'll randomly just pick a book, read it, and feel better and get out of whatever slump I'm in. Number 6, what is your favourite debut book or first book in a series that you read last year? Right, I'm going to have to go away and check this one because there was a lot.
One eternity later.
Alright, it's a little bit unclear what's classing as debuts in some of this, so we're going to go for The Automaton by Ian Young. I picked this up through my book box with Your Paper Quest. It was in my first box, actually. This was a really, really, really smart sci-fi novel looking at AI, the effects of AI on humanity, and the AI itself, actually, as well. What rights would look like, and it's over a significant period of time, talking centuries. And there's a really smart sort of connective tissue between each of the different time periods as well. Really thought-provoking. It was really, really, really smart. If you're a fan of sci-fi, I highly recommend checking it out. That's The Automaton by Ian Young. Number 7, goals. Do you have a specific reading goal or challenge for the year ahead? So I have a couple of things going on this year. First off, we are doing a Wheel of Time read-along, which the amazing Elaine over at Cobalt Dragon is co-hosting with me. Link up above there to my video to do with that. There are a load of other booktubers taking part in this, so keep an eye out for content from a whole host of places. On top of that, in terms of my pure reading goals, I've set a target of 18,000 pages or 60 books. Now, that does feel a little bit conservative compared to what I've read this year, but this is kind of based on some changes in personal circumstances. I'm not going to have quite as much time to read this year, so we'll see. We'll see how we go. I will probably beat both of them, but if I don't, I don't. Also, I'm reading a lot more chunky books this year. You know, Wheel of Time is a lot of pages. A lot of pages. So, realistically, the pages thing I will probably shoot through far quicker than the actual book count. So, and finally, breaking walls. Do you have a non-book related goal for 2025 which you wish to share? So I have recently changed my job position at work, hence why I've not got quite as much time to read, because it means more hours also means more pay. So I am going to be investing a little bit in my technology, a little bit more, so I can buy more video games, because I've kind of started to get bored of the ones that I've got. So my intention this year is to potentially stream a little bit more over on Twitch with the video games that I play when I get time. But also, it's the same goal as last year, to have the right balance. I also want to do more D&D this year. So we are looking at, I do a home game occasionally, which a group of us do, but that's very sporadic. Potentially looking at starting an online game at some point. Not sure when or how that looks yet. Not really thought it through, just spitballing. But other than that, balance. Balance is the key one. I do not want to go for a burnout period this year. I'm entering 2025 in a surprisingly upbeat and energetic mood. I would like to maintain that for the year. So there we go. That is the New Year, New Me book tag. If you haven't done this tag already, if you haven't seen it before, consider yourself tagged if you wish to do so. Make sure you tag myself as well as Kevin Towle Reads so that we can both check out the content as well. I hope you've had a great day, you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you very soon.